Alright guys, I am doing the December tier list. So we're going to go ahead and get into the first elephant in the room, and that is Dragon Link. So now that Flunderies finally got hit, and there are going to be less people playing Floow, and there are going to be less people running triple imperm, and a lot of the hate for Flunderies that would hit Dragon Link, I feel like Dragon Link can finally be back up in A tier. It's going to probably be at the ass end of A tier, maybe even the top of B tier by the time we finish the list. But I am going to put Dragon Link higher because a lot of the checks for it are gone, and this deck has basically not lost anything, but it hasn't really gained anything either. But it kind of is back to being more meta relevant. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put Branded up here. I'm going to put Branded ahead of Dragon Link. And the reason I'm putting Branded in A is because Branded is still, in my opinion, the king of the format. But enough people know how to play around it at this point to where I don't feel like it deserves to be S tier, definitive best, oppressive deck, because I am seeing a lot of other decks winning in the format. As we kind of exited November, I'm feeling like I'm seeing Branded a little bit less, and other decks are starting to see more play. Let's see, where do we want to really put Altergeist? I feel like Altergeist at this point in time might be like the ass end of B tier, because they are incredibly disruptive. We might move them down to be the kings of C tier, depending on how the rest of this list goes. Ancient Warriors are poo-poo. This is the return of the poo-poo tier. I'm going to put them down here because they don't see a lot of representation. They're pretty easy to beat. If you're playing them as a blind going second deck, you do have options for this deck to win, but I just really don't see it being that viable or that good or having that much representation. Blue Eyes. We're gonna put Blue Eyes in. We're gonna put Blue Eyes in C because I look at C as like rogue. That's maybe not the best rogue, but it's like playable rogue. You will like stop seeing Blue Eyes decks really being played once you kind of exit gold and you get into platinum. You'll probably not really run into Blue Eyes very much. But the deck isn't bad, it's just not as good as the other decks in the format. Endymion. I'm actually going to put Endymion above Altergeist. And the reason I'm putting Endymion so high in B tier is because Endymion, in this current format, with the hits that all the other decks kind of took, I feel like Endymion's just a little bit better than it was. I might move this down later on, but I feel like just for shaping the list, putting it in B right now is not bad. Madolche, we're going to put King of C tier. I know that other like list sites like Master Duel Meta has them higher, but this deck, if this deck goes first, it sets up and you don't have an answer for the spells and traps, this deck can roll over you, yes. But if you do have an answer for the spells or traps and you can stop them from recycling as hard, then I feel this deck kind of crumples. So I feel like if you do go first, or if you do have the hand trap outs to this deck, you'll have a lot more success against it than something like I'm gonna say Altergeist that is a little bit more resilient, because all Altergeist really needs to do is activate the one trap and show you multi-faker, then get the wind one that bounces things. And in addition to that, they also have the Searcher that can deal the 500 direct damage and then send a card to grave. So I feel like Altergeist kind of has a little bit more competitive viability than Madolche, where Madolche is just more protect the castle. Altergeist, I just feel like has better plays, and they do have the play on. They do have a lot more options on your opponent's turn, I feel like, and that's why I'm gonna put Altergeist higher. So I'm actually gonna put Adventure in C tier. I pretty much don't see this deck at all in Diamond. I know people are gonna like give me crap for this and be like, well, I see adventure all the time. Um, I don't. I just don't. And like, I feel like the deck is just kind of dead with the hits that it took, which is good because I don't like playing against it. Uh, Next we have Cubics. Cubics can be in D tier. I feel like they're good enough to where they're out of poo-poo tier for now, but they also don't have a lot going for them. They're kind of easy to beat. It's pretty easy to negate their effects. Hand traps hurt them. They kind of need more support. The only thing they really have going for them is their boss monster. And if this was best of 3 format and not best of 1 format, they would definitely be in poo-poo tier. Next we have Gladiator Beast. Gladiator Beast are going to go ahead and be in poo-poo tier. The deck's just too slow. The battle phase effects, or trying to resolve Test Tiger, it's just not going to work out for you. Next we have D Hero Lock or D Hero Control. It's going to be in D tier. Without being able to make the Destroyer Phoenix as much, I feel like the deck just kind of suffers. Next we're going to take DDD and we're going to put DDD... I'm going to put DDD as the king of B tier for now. The reason DDD is so high is the right person running this deck can do nutty things with it. They can make insane negate boards. They can do decent going second. If you play the deck a lot and you kind of know what you need to bait out, you can use some of your cards in your hand that you're not necessarily going to use to building the board to kind of bait out hand traps from your opponent or reactions from your opponent, and then proceed to build the negate board. And they can just pump out a ton of break my board negate cards still. And the other reason why I like them is they are more consistent than something like Emancipator, which can get hand trapped a little bit easier, and the board is a lot easier to break now that Emancipator kind of isn't running around as much. People know how to play against it. Which brings us to Emancipator. I'm actually going to put them below Altergeist and B tier. I know some people are going to be dissatisfied with that, but that's just my personal take on them. I don't think they're quite bad enough to be in C tier, but the deck has definitely seen better days. So the Crusadia going second, OTK, FTK, it can be in C tier. It can be next to Blue Eyes in no like particular order. I feel like it's kind of on the same level as Blue Eyes. Despia Branded is going to be right next to Branded in A tier. I definitely feel like the Despia variant of Branded is the best variant of Branded. But the deck I don't feel like is oppressive enough to be S tier anymore. Next we have Ice Jade. I tried running this deck. I love this deck. It's a lot of fun. I feel like it actually deserves to be in D tier until we get the rest of the cards for it. Because right now it's just kind of like you try to negate the effects and you do it and you win, or you don't negate the effects and you lose. It has a ton of bad matchups and it's missing its support. Blind Kaiju, King of Beast, Kaiju Control. It still functions. It's not like as relevant in the meta anymore, and I don't see it as much. I definitely don't see it like outside of gold. I feel like it's C tier. I don't feel like it's bad enough to be D because the strategy is still pretty viable to just kind of like Kaiju, fart out King of Beast, and then do shenanigans and beat down your opponent that way. I feel like it's better than everything below it. Next we have Gravekeepers. I'm going to put Gravekeepers in... I'll put Gravekeepers in D tier for now. Necro Valley is a good card, but in the current state of the game, I just feel like the deck's too slow and the stun lock is just not going to work. And going against things like Branded that don't really need the Grave too much is just pretty hard. They have a bad Dragon Link matchup as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in D tier for now. Ignister. So Ignister is going to go in A tier. It's going to go next to Dragon Link. It's slightly below Dragon Link in my opinion. Ignister is very strong still. They haven't really lost anything. You can hand trap them, but they can come back from it. Like, you gotta have a lot of hand traps or a lot of negates to stop them from making the board with the huge 5,000 attack guy that's unaffected by everything. And getting over him is a real pain in the butt. Next, I'm going to take Inzectors, particularly the Inzector Beatron build. And I'm going to put it at the butt end of C tier. I feel like the deck's okay at best. Lunalight, particularly Lunalight Tri-Brigade, can also be in C tier. I actually feel like the Tri-Brigade variant is probably better than the Inzector Beatrons, and probably better than the Alpha Master V. So we're actually gonna put them up right here next to Blue Eyes. And you're not gonna see Lunalight Tri being played because most people moved on to other options. But if you do run into it, it's an okay deck. It's pretty resilient. I feel like it deserves to be in C tier. I feel like it's better than D. Regular heroes. Regular heroes. We'll put them in C tier. We'll put them in C tier above Beatron and Sectors. They still have decent combos. Evil heroes, they can go down there next to Destiny heroes. They're just not very good right now. B tier. B tier. Yeah, let's actually put them ahead of Emancipator. The Life Twins, you're gonna see. I actually see Life Twin running around quite a bit in Diamond. And I actually fear that deck more than I do Emancipator at this point. I feel like Life Twin just has a genuinely good matchup against a lot of decks. I'm actually going to put it higher than Altergeist as well. Next we have Cyber Dragons. Cyber Dragons are going to be in B, and they're going to be below Emancipator. There is that new machine card that's meant for Ancient Gears that's coming out that turns both sides of the field into machine monsters. By the time we get that in Master Duel, like a year from now probably, I can put Cyber Dragons higher because you can literally just resolve that spell card, summon Cyber Dragon, and then contact your opponent's board. Like, that's nutty. But right now, I think low B, they might even move to high C, is good enough. You know what? Actually, no, I'm gonna keep them in low B. Next we have Gren Menju, and the problem with Gren Menju is it just keeps like losing cards for its matchup, like losing banishment cards. So it's gonna go in low B at this point. Next we have Exodia. Exodia is gonna go at the Ascent of C. Do I have any of the like chain burn shenanigans on here? I don't see them right now, so that's fine. Oh, there's Nurse. Nurse is actually going to go in D. Like, if you're going to play Solitaire, they're better Solitaire decks. Actually, I'm going to put Nurse down on Poo-Poo. Even Ancient Warrior is better than Nurse Marine. Next we got Cyber Dark, which I feel like is the better variant of Cyber Dragons. I'm going to put them next to each other in no particular order. Cyber Dark's boss monster is pretty good. Next we have Prank Kids, and I'm not seeing the Prank Kids resurgence that I hoped I was going to be seeing. I am still going to put them in B tier, and I'm going to put them like third in B tier. Next we have Umi Control, and Umi Control, I feel like I put way too high on the list last time in A. I feel like it's fallen off a lot of the less impactful. I'm going to put it in B. Actually, we're going to move it way down. It's going to be the Ascent of B. Because the deck is good, and the deck is good when it gets set up, but if it doesn't get set up or it goes second, it will struggle. Next we're going to have Numeron. And I feel like Numeron does what like Blue Eyes does, but better. And so, like, because Numeron's just, at the end of the day, Numeron's just an FTK beat stick out of left field deck. I'm going to put that in B. I'm going to put that in lower B. Next we have Ballpark. Ballpark's doing nothing right now. I feel like it's still better than stuff like GK. I feel like it's even Ballpark 10E is probably even more consistent than Exodia at this point. So I feel like Ballpark can have a little bit of salami and be in C tier. Next we have Pendulums. Pendulums had huge gains and are actually not completely terrible at this point. I'm going to cautiously put Pendulums in C. I feel like Pendulums, like Magician Pendulums, are actually somewhat viable. So Rockets is like a pure deck. I'm actually going to put like at the top of D tier, maybe Ass into C tier. Orcus, just keep getting more stuff back. C tier, probably next to Heroes, yeah. Next to Heroes, there we go. Machina, Earth Toolbox, Earth Toolkit, completely fallen off. Don't see it at all in the meta anymore. The deck's still decent. Go next to Rockets and D. Dark Magician, completely fallen off. Don't see it right now. Too slow. Gets blown out by the best decks in the format. Gets blown out by pretty much everything above it. I feel like it belongs somewhere in C tier. Yeah, I feel like right there's a good place for it. Drytron Herald. I just never see this deck played anymore. I ran into it once when I was climbing flat, and I just actually no, I ran into it twice, and I just completely bowled over it. I actually think it's in one of the deck profile replays today. I think I actually beat this with Watts. If your deck loses to Watts, it's not very good. I feel like right here is good for Drytron Herald. Dragon Maids, Dragon Link, Dragon Maid being the best optimal version of Dragon Maid. I feel like right here in C tier is good for it. Eldritch can be on the ass end of B tier for now. It's still viable. The deck is just like really crippled by the current ban list. The deck does have some stuff going for it, but it's mainly just a back row protect the castle deck at this point. Muskets. I'm putting next to Exodia. Skull Servants. D tier. Dinomorphia. So regular dinosaurs are better. I can't stress that enough with how I'm putting this on the list. But Dinomorphia, you're not going to see it very often. Not having 3 skill drains kind of hurts the deck. But the deck is a decent back row deck with also good front row options as well. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and put that at the king of C tier. I don't feel like it's quite good enough to be in B, but the deck is decent. I'm going to put regular dinos in B tier though. Regular dinos haven't lost that much. They've gotten more support. The Scrap Dino combo board is still active in the game. The deck is decent. I'm actually going to put them above Eldritch. Fight me in the comments below. Marinsis. So this is a best of 1 format. If this is best of 3, they'd be lower. I'm going to put them next to Altergeist. Actually, no, I'm going to put them next to Prank Kids. I'm going to put them above Live Twin. Because the board, if I'm putting Live Twin that high, Marinsis deserves to be that high. Because the board that Marinsis can make is incredibly strong in best of 1. Flunderies. So Flunderies losing Barrier Statue. Yes, the deck is functional. Yes, the deck is mainly like a tribute during your opponent's turn deck. Tribute your opponent's stuff with Undying Winds. Bring out different Floodgates. Play around Mist Valley, Apex Avian. But Flunderies without Barrier Statue, the deck is still functional. The deck is still playable. I'm actually going to put it... I'm going to put it at the ass end of B tier below Eldritch. But no statue, the deck hurts. Next we got my boys ABC. ABC can be in C tier. They can be next to Madolche with Protect the Castle. Mayakashi. Mayakashi zombies. They have the Bone Tower FTK. It's not very consistent. I'm gonna put them right over here. Regular zombies. Zombies is like an anti-meta deck right now. High B tier. I mean, sorry, not high B tier. Low B tier. Salad. Salad's kind of in the same place as Eldritch, but I feel like Salad actually has a little bit of a better grind game and more resilience. So Salad's gonna actually go ahead of Eldritch in B. Plunder. Plunder can be D tier. Plunder is not very good. Every time I put Plunder in D or like Puka tier, people get mad at me, but I'm sorry, you're wrong. It's D tier. It's just not a very good deck. Speedroids. They still got that big ass negate board. They can go in C tier. 6 Sam. D. Spellbooks. D. They got Jowgen shenanigans, but I just don't feel like Spellbooks can really bring it home right now in the meta. I feel like when we get like Runic or like Tier or something, Runic Spellbooks or Tier Spellbooks might be more valuable, but right now Spellbooks are not very good. Nordics, D tier. Deck's completely fallen off. We already ranked 6 Sam. Scareclaw. So Scareclaw is interesting. I've seen it a couple times. I've played against it a couple times. I have like a 50-50 win rate against it. I don't feel like the deck is bad. I feel like the deck either needs more support or kind of just needs to be more fleshed out in the meta, maybe see some more representation. I think I'm going to do a deck profile over it in the future. I would, however, say that Scareclaw is like right in here. I'm putting it very high. I know I'm putting it very high, but in a best of one where the format's trending, I think we're going to see more Scareclaw, and I think the deck is going to be better and better over time, like we've seen in the TCG with the recent regional top that Scareclaw had. True Draco is just worse Flunder. I know people hate it when I say that, but it's kind of true. You go right up in there. No. Yeah, this is a kind of a hard one to rank. You go right there. Phantom Knights. Not seeing a lot of representation from Phantom Knights, but they're still a powerhouse of a deck. You can run the adventure engine in them if you really want to. I don't see much of a point of it at this point in time. I'll put Phantom Knights in B tier ahead of Eldritch. Subterrors. Subterrors are doing absolutely nothing right now, and I gotta put my man Guru in. He's better than some of these D tier decks. Let's put him right here. Sword Soul. So Sword Soul, still a great deck, relatively unscathed by the ban list. I'd actually say it's better than Dragon Link. I'm gonna put Sword Soul in A tier. Spiral, even with getting some of their cards back, this deck is still no brainer to beat. I pretty much almost never lose to it. Actually, I've never lost to Spiral, I believe. So we're gonna put Spiral in D. Thunder Dragons. Thunder Dragons are still doing stuff. They're not really hindered by the meta very badly. Thunder Dragon branded is even a thing if you really want to. Thunder Dragon Despia branded is even more of a thing. I'm gonna put Thunder Dragons in B. And y'all just have to deal with that. Trickstar. If you're gonna run a burn deck, it's probably the best burn deck to run. I'm gonna actually go under Magical Muskets. Not a bad C tier option. Sky Strikers. Sky Strikers still have decent back row, still are kind of decent to deal with. I'm gonna put them in high B, and I'm gonna put them ahead of Altergeist because I feel like Sky Strikers can be more disruptive than Altergeist. And I feel like Sky Striker now with the spells and traps you have at your disposal is kind of more skillful deck in terms of choosing when you want to spend your resources. So Springen branded, Pierce Springen's C tier. Penny, Sword Soul, I've seen a lot of people moving away from and running pure Sword Soul, but the deck is still decent, so it is going to go up in A. I feel like pure Sword Soul is not better than Tenyi Sword Soul, but I'm seeing more representation of it, so that is why I'm putting them kind of side by side like that. The deck is definitely not bad, though. Let's see. Oh, our boy Tri-Brigade. So Tri-Brigade variants, you have a lot of Tri-Brigade variants right now. You can run Tri-Brigade branded. You can run Tri-Brigade Scareclaw. You can run Tri-Brigade Zodiac. I feel like Tri-Brigade is still decent, and I still see a fair amount of representation for it, so I'm going to put that in A tier. And even if you do see representation fall off, the deck really hasn't lost anything, and the deck is decent. I just feel like the people that might have been playing Tri probably moved on to like Branded or Sword Soul. I do feel like Zoo Tri is still probably the better variant of Tri, so that's going to go up there. Traptrix. I feel like Traptrix can actually be the king of C tier. I feel like Danomorphia will have more plays, but Traptrix will have more representation. You might actually see it more. We already ranked Phantom Knights. Burning Abyss. I'm just going to cheat this for Burning Abyss. Burning Abyss, you don't really see like pure BA. It's always BA, PK. If you do see pure BA with like Light of Sekka, I feel like just pure BA would actually be like D tier at this point. But PK BA would definitely be up higher with Phantom Knights. Unchained. Also D tier. Zeus Turbo is poo-poo at this point. Zeus being at 1 killed that. I don't know why I still have that on this list. Virtual World. King of C tier. The deck has low representation. The deck's lost a lot. It's just not that good anymore. Evil Eye of Salim.deck. Can go in D. Arrow Mage can go in D. UA can go in D. Yang Xing variants of Sword Soul, you're not even going to really see anymore, but if you do see the Yang Xing Sword Soul, I feel like it's drastically fallen off. It's more of a C tier deck at this point. Regular Ding Doodle variants you don't see because Halley Fibrex is dead. So like regular Yang Xing variants, D. Chaos variants, D. And then last we have Dogmatica. Some people are still playing Despia Dogmatica. It's fallen off. It's definitely like the least powerful of the Despia decks. Dogmatica variants are still decent. I'm putting them behind Madolche and behind... nah, still in front of Pendulum. And yeah, that's it for the list. Let me know down below if you agree with the list, disagree with the list for all those Dragon Link stands that I kept getting. I hope you're happy. The deck is finally more viable now that Flunter is kind of way lower in the meta. And I will see you guys next month for the next tier list. Bye-bye.